Well, we will get this kicked off here. So, welcome to the collaborative call. We have this call every single Tuesday. It is for our bigger group, Game Changer Nation, and we bring on either special guests or kind of the five of us that run this are John Mikish, Lars Hedenborg, AJ Mida, Janie Coffey, and myself. And so we'll train on different things: marketing, sales, mindset, luxury, YouTube today. So lots of different things. And this is a call where you can invite guests. So if you have people that you would like to show them what it looks like to be in our world, this is a great call to invite to. So AJ, I will let you take it away. And if you guys have any questions, pop them in the chat and AJ can answer them, either at the end or whenever it works.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks for the introduction, Stacy. Excited to share a little bit on YouTube. Over the last few years, I've just been watching it absolutely transform so many real estate agents' business lives, which ultimately transforms their lives, right? When you have a new mechanism in your business that's a little more passive, maybe than active prospecting, it certainly buys back some of your time. So it's something I've been studying now. Gosh. I actually looked at my About tab on my YouTube channel about a week ago, and my first YouTube video was posted March of 2015. So just over a decade now on YouTube. And do not go back and watch my first video on my channel because it is absolutely embarrassing, but it's still there. And I leave it there so you can go back and watch it to just know that when you start your YouTube channel, your first video is most likely going to suck, just like mine did. And that's the reality with life, right? Anything we do for the first time, we usually are not that great at it. And sometimes we even suck at it, and that's okay. We got to be okay with sucking at first to get started. So that's a little bit about me and my YouTube journey. It's been over a decade, and I have a couple of case studies in this presentation that I prepared to show you a few agents that are absolutely crushing it on YouTube. And I put together a bunch of the best practices, best video topics to implement. And at the end, we'll save a little bit of time for Q&A or discussion around it. But I'll just go ahead and dive in and share my screen here. All right, let's see. All right, cool. And it looks like I got permission to share. Awesome. Here we go. You guys can see my desktop okay? We got thumbs up.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks. Very good. Cool. So using YouTube to sell more houses without cold calling, transform your real estate business with YouTube. And in this training, you'll discover a framework that generates leads while creating freedom in your business. So I got my real estate start a little over a decade ago in 2013. So 2 years prior to me starting a YouTube channel. And I got my started prospecting, so I know all too well the hard work, the blood, sweat, and sometimes tears that goes with cold calling. So with this YouTube strategy, it's just amazing to see how it can transform your business from cold calling to more of a passive prospecting approach. The two-prong approach that I'm really shifting my YouTube channel to, and my YouTube channel, for those of you that don't know me, is more geared towards coaching real estate agents. It's not for actively finding buyers on YouTube. But the approach that I'm taking now with my philosophy around coaching real estate agents is first prospecting for sellers, because that's your now business. If you're a brand new agent or if you're trying to just get to that next level in your business, you can start prospecting for sellers today, and you might have a for sale by owner or expired listing ready to go tomorrow. It's that quick. With YouTube, it's a little bit of a longer cycle to get to that point. So what I'm teaching is to start with seller prospecting. If you don't yet have a number one pillar in your business that's driving revenue today, and then in the meantime, create like 1 or 2 YouTube videos on Friday or Saturday that can be passively prospecting for your real estate business. It's like having fishing line in the water at all times, 24/7. So that's kind of what I want you to think about there is it's not one or the other necessarily. It's probably a couple pillars to get started with, and then it can move into maybe this YouTube engine being your number one or only pillar in the future. So, why YouTube? So, YouTube is the second largest search engine globally. And we all know that the biggest right now, Google. With AI, I'm sure that will eventually change. But right now, it's Google. Number two is YouTube, and Google owns YouTube. So, when you're searching for things in Google, YouTube search results oftentimes pull up in the Google search results. So, you'll see videos right there on the homepage of Google. So YouTube is a massive, massive search engine. I don't know about all you guys, but I spend probably too much time on YouTube. At least it's not Facebook or Instagram, but I'm constantly learning things on YouTube every single day. Quite honestly, every single day. I just had a baby iguana knock on my front door the other day, and this thing's tiny, and we caught it, and now it's in a tank on my back patio, and I'm learning how to take care of a baby iguana even now. So there's just massive, massive opportunities on YouTube, and certainly for real estate agents, since we can actually sell houses versus just teach people how to raise baby iguanas. So it's evergreen. Like I mentioned, you always have something running in the background, even while you sleep, generating views, generating watch hours that ultimately will lead to buyer leads on the back end for you. And I believe it's the number one way to build trust. We all grew up watching television, movies, and they're called movie stars for a reason, right? When we see or meet a movie star, sometimes we're starstruck. Well, that's the effect that even YouTube will have on your buyers when you meet with them for the first time. I've heard so many stories from agents implementing these strategies online about when the first time they meet with their buyers are actually thrilled to meet with them. That's a little different than meeting with a buyer lead for the first time that came in through a pay-per-click lead campaign, and their initial name was Mickey Mouse because they didn't want you to know their real name. Then you finally, after 21 days of pain, get their real name. And then you have the privilege to meet them for the first time, and they'd rather not meet you. Like it's just a totally different frame meeting somebody through YouTube versus a cold lead, we'll say. And the credibility. I mean, imagine showing up for a listing appointment, whether it's an expired listing appointment that you're going on for sale by owner, or maybe it's just, a neighbor. And you can show up and say, hey, check out my channel here on YouTube that's driving 20 to 50, whatever it is, buyer leads per month. Here on YouTube, see this video right here, best area to live in Charlotte, North Carolina. This video actually has 10,000 views. So we're getting all of these buyers moving right now to Charlotte, and these buyers could potentially buy your home. This is why you should list with me. So it's a great way to just build credibility, even at a listing appointment, to help you close more of those. So Kayla Lindsay, she's a fellow game changer. I personally sponsored her. She's a rock star agent. Me and her both got started in real estate around the same time. Cold calling. We took bold multiple times each at Keller Williams, and we were calling expires, FISBOs, same market, 20, 30 contacts a day. We both did the bold 100. If you guys don't know what that is, it's where you actually get 100 no's in a day through this program. I mean, gosh, talk about pain calling 100 or calling probably 1,000 people to get 100 no's in one day. Well, Kayla and I both did that, same class. And she had her first child probably, gosh, a couple years ago now, 2.5 years ago. She was pregnant and thinking about how can I transform my business to go from just prospecting based to something that kind of runs a little bit more on its own so I can be more present with my child and my family. And she started posting on YouTube a few years ago and has absolutely blown it up. She went from being a faithful prospecting agent for 7+ years, crushing it, multiple six figures a year in GCI, really disciplined, doing really well with that, to where now she's doing close, maybe more than 1 million GCI, primarily through YouTube. She does not cold call anymore. I actually looked at my RevShare dashboard over the last 6 months. We can see these stats because she's in my downline. She's done just north of 500,000 GCI in the last 6 months, and I know it's mostly coming from YouTube. So we should probably have her on maybe next month, and she can give you the real gold on all this kind of stuff. But her channel, it's not massive. It's only 6,800 people, 6,800 subscribers. And that might sound like a lot, but when you look at people like Mr. Beast, who has like 42 million, it's not that much. And then Greg Foster out of San Antonio, he has just shy of 12,000 subscribers, and he's built a massive business as well. He went from, I think, doing about 10 million the previous year when he started his YouTube channel to within the first 4 months of the next year already being around 30 million closed and pending, which is absolutely incredible. And just one thing I want to note here on these thumbnails, and we'll get a little bit more into this, is some keys to thumbnails is just having, kind of like a surprise what's going on face. That does really well. They're always really fun to take those pictures for your thumbnails. If you got a big ego, this might not be the route to go because you got to look dumb in your thumbnails. Not saying they look dumb, saying I look dumb when I do my thumbnails. You want that surprise, that scared look, you're like confused look, and you can actually type right in Chat GPT, what are the 10 facial expressions I should have to have top performing thumbnails? And they will give you an entire list and how to shoot those thumbnails. Like put your hands up like this, point to something. Really, really cool. All right, next slide. Here we go. That's the image. All right. There we go. All right. So channel foundations, build your platform. So getting started, what you're trying to do here is position yourself as a local expert. What you're already trying to do, right? Nothing different there. You want to have a clear value proposition to your clients. And you want to be thinking through these three major components. What is your brand? When I say what is your brand, think through like, what are the colors of your brand? Because you want to show up consistently on your YouTube channel. Is your brand serious and analytical? Is that, and this is really like just like your authentic self. So think through things like, am I more serious or am I kind of always, goofing off and just making jokes? Whatever it is, that's your brand. So again, ChatGPT, go to it, have a conversation with it. If you need help, think about what your brand should be on YouTube. But that's your brand. It's really just who you are, and you want to be strategic about it. And then what areas do you cover? So if you're in, say, the greater Charlotte area, maybe you cover Charlotte and then all the surrounding cities. It might take you an hour to get from one side to the other if there's no traffic. So that's a pretty big area. Maybe you cover an area that big. Or maybe you're in Charlotte, but you're actually in a suburb just north of Charlotte, which is Lake Norman, which is where John and I lived. And maybe it's just Lake Norman that you cover. So you niche down even farther. So you want to choose that. And then how often are you going to post? And that really is important because you want to really have a stockpile of videos. I would say at least 2 to 3 weeks before you post your first one because life happens. And if you miss a week, at least you have something sitting there in your stockpile that you can pull out so you stay consistent. Consistency, as we all know in all things in life, is the biggest key to success, whether it's with your diet, your seller prospecting, or with YouTube. The ones who are most consistent are the ones who are going to have the most success. And the good thing is we're all human, so we all tend to be a little inconsistent in different things in our lives, and YouTube posting is no different. I actually studied probably 20 channels, and what I've noticed most about the top performing channels is 80+% are also inconsistent. My point in saying that is when you step into this industry or this niche of being a YouTube agent now, if there's someone that's just killing it in your market and you're like, man, they already got all the business. It's not true because if you actually look at their channel, you'll probably see that there's times where they miss posting, and there's also room for multiple personalities in each market. Like Charlotte alone, gosh, if you went into Charlotte's YouTube and typed in living in Charlotte, North Carolina in YouTube, you probably find, I would guess, no less than 10 different people already doing it there. So branding checklist. This is really simple. When you go to start your channel, you just want to make sure they have a professional banner and profile photo. So one note on the banner is when you design your banner, it shows up three different ways on three different devices. So you have your mobile, you have your desktop, and you have your TV. And it will actually show you, you'll design your banner, it'll look all pretty, and then you go to upload it, then you pull it up on your mobile, and the stuff's gonna be cut off. But there's an option in there to see what it looks like on all three devices at the same time once you upload it. And I would recommend just make it look great for mobile. It's going to be a little squeezed in. So on the TV, it's not going to look, the best it could be or on desktop. But if it's looking perfect for mobile, you're getting 70% of all eyeballs on the mobile device. So make sure you just optimize it for mobile. Channel trailer, this could just be sitting in your office talking about your passion as a real estate agent, who you help, your success, your track record, whatever that might be. And then about section with a strong, unique selling proposition. Again, just reiterating what's in your channel trailer. And with this, it doesn't have to be like highly produced. It can really just be you sitting in your office. And with all of these things, to kind of, if you feel stuck, just start typing in different cities, living in Charlotte, living in Denver, living in Detroit, living in Albuquerque. And every single city you type in, I'd be shocked if the city has 50,000 plus people. I'd be surprised if it doesn't have a living in real estate agent already there, because this is the biggest opportunity that I've ever seen for real estate agents other than eXp Realty. It really is. Upload defaults, keyword rich titles that attract buyers. Um, if you go to if you just Google rapid tags, you'll probably get the link to this website. If you don't, and someone reminds me in the comments of this video when we post a replay, I'll get it in there. Or if someone wants to find it, put it in the chat. But it's rapid tags. So Google rapid tags, and what you can do, you can either put in a link to the video you just made, or you can type in your title. Say it's top 10 reasons to move to Bozeman, Montana. You type that in the search box in rapid tags, all of your keyword rich tags will pop up. So now you got all your tags, and you can utilize those in the title and the description if you want. But you can just copy and paste all of those tags into the tags section of your YouTube video. But I like to do that as soon as the video is made, because now I know like what is this rapid tag generator telling me that is the keyword rich, words that I'm looking for, because you want to integrate those into your title and also your thumbnail, ideally the thumbnail copy. And yeah, so description paragraph with links. At this point, I just like to use ChatGPT. So I'll take, or Claude, I'll take my transcript and I'll stick it in one of those AI tools, and it will give me the description for my video. Again, ask it, if it feels a little, I guess, vanilla, tell the AI that you want a keyword rich description. Even give it the tags that you just got from Rapid Tags. Say integrate these into it, and it will. And then you do a quick edit, less than a minute, you probably got your description there. And for my description, I like to have my description, plus I like to have bullet points underneath the description. Chapter timestamps for navigation. This is gold. This used to be very tedious to do. I don't know if you guys have ever watched a video, but let's just say it's a 1 hour video. It's an interview style YouTube video. Those are the ones I like to watch a lot of times. And I'm like 15 minutes in, and it's just the boring part. And I'm like, man, I got another 35 minutes of this to go. And I'm at the gym or something. I'm like, I'm gonna click off and find a different video if it's just getting kind of boring, I guess. Well, with timestamps for the creators who take the time to do them, I can just dub the video with my finger and see the timestamps, or go in the description and see the timestamps for all the chapters. So if I'm learning something about, I don't know, ChatGPT, but I already feel like I know ChatGPT pretty well, and I'm like, man, this isn't for me anymore. But I can see in 10 minutes, they got one coming up on Poppy AI, which looks like an amazing tool that I'm just really learning about now. I'm going to click the Poppy timestamp, and it will take me automatically there. So the way you can do these, a very simple way, there's a tool called Descript. It's an editor tool. And instead of having to edit the old school way, I guess, where you actually need to know what you're doing, it automatically transcribes the video. So you got your video, you got the transcription on the side. You just delete the words that you don't want. So if I say a sentence that was like a screw up, I just delete that sentence, and it edits the video for me. It's like magic. And you can take that same tool, and on the right hand side, you click timestamps, it will generate all the timestamps for you. And then I go in and I'll clean them up a little bit. If some of the timestamps maybe seem a little boring, or if there's too many, I'll just clean them up a little bit. And then I copy and paste those timestamps into my description. And now my video has timestamps. Before, you used to have to listen to it yourself and do it all on your own. So that's really cool. Descript is really amazing. If you're not using a video editor, CapCut and Descript are the two top ones that I've seen that are easy to use. I mean, my house has a big echo in it. That's just the way homes are built here. A lot of concrete and tile, and auto enhanced audio feature. takes away most of that echo where it's like I'm in a studio and it's like really incredible. I actually didn't make videos for a long time because I just couldn't get my audio right. And I was like, man, if I make another video, my audio is just going to be no good. So I was just like not doing, which is a poor excuse. But that's the reality. Sometimes we let our drunk monkey, as we learned in Bold, get to us. And then lastly for this slide, end screen template with recommended video. Now I put this in here just this is key. When you do your end screen template, so picture you're watching a YouTube video, it's the end, and something comes up at the end, and there it's usually like two videos to pick from, or the person has nothing, or it's like outro music. Pay attention to your favorite creators, what they're doing. What I've seen the best thing to do is to simply do one video and let YouTube recommend the video for the viewer. Don't try to put the one that you want the viewer to watch. YouTube's algorithm is so good. If you just let them pick what's best for that viewer next, it's more likely that they'll either let it autoplay to that video or they'll actually click it and watch the video versus just clicking what you want them to watch and be like, oh, this really isn't for me, and then they click off. All right. I'll pause here for a second if anyone has a pressing question and they want to jump in before they lose it. I know I'm going fast. All right.
AJ, real quick.
Yep.
Um, so like with folks that are in cities that have high populations like Charlotte or Miami or living in we're in a town that probably only has, between 150 and 200 single family home sales per year. And we have a really good market share here in my hometown. But I feel like sort of creating living in Mansfield, Massachusetts would sort of limit us to just that. Like, have you seen anybody else? Like, do people do it effectively using a county or an area versus, kind of drilling down into one specific town?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, you can even do the whole state, you know. How
Okay.
many people are in Massachusetts?
Yeah, a lot, but yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
a few million. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you to be quite honest, and I've considered doing this. I'm probably not going to do it, but I've considered doing a YouTube channel for a city in the US where I don't live for the purpose of showing agents how to do this on YouTube. And
Yeah.
I know I could go in and crush any US city from my house in Puerto Rico. Like, so you really just to answer your question directly, I would go as big as you feel you need to go. I would try to get a population size of like a million,
Okay.
if it's available, just because that's going to generate more leads. And if you get a lead that's 2 hours away, you just refer it out. I mean, you could build a complete strategy around this where you're just a referral agent. I mean, if you had a production team, you could essentially have five of these channels running for you at all times and just be giving out leads to EXP agents and collecting probably a 40 per, you'd be like a Zillow collecting 40% referral fees.
Yep. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. But I would start small and build out. So I would start doing videos closest to me. And then as I feel like maybe I've kind of hit that a little bit too much, then I would start probably going out,
Okay.
cast a small net and then wider, wider, wider.
Yep.
Three main keys to success. Great question. Start with a 30-second hook, naming the viewer's problem. So the hook is a big, big deal. And I talk about this in the title here on the slide too, but the hook needs to match the title and the thumbnail. So if I have in the title and the thumbnail, say my title's don't top 10 reasons to move to Charlotte, North Carolina. And the thumbnail says move to Charlotte, North Carolina. Well, that matches. And then as soon as my hook comes, it's just me for a minute talking about who I am and how great I am and how many homes I sell. People are going to click off. They're just going to be like, this isn't the promise you made in the title and thumbnail. So hook's a really big deal. And then you just want to make sure that if you just look at it, the philosophy of your content creation, specifically for YouTube, it is like, how can I deliver the maximum amount of value in the shortest period of time? That will cut out a lot of the rambling that you might do. But you also want to make sure that your video is between Really 8 to 15 minutes is kind of sweet spot on YouTube. 8 minutes is the shortest your video should be because YouTube needs to put ads into your video. And I believe they don't put ads in under 8 minute videos, or they can only put one. It's something like that. So you want to create the video that's long enough for them to maximize how many ads they can really put in it. Because then they're going to say, well, I can really monetize AJ's videos, so I'm going to push his more than someone else who's creating all 6 minute videos. Um, Drop a light mid video call to action. So CTA's call to action versus going through the whole video. Then at the very end, doing your call to action. Most people won't watch your video through the end. So make sure you have a call to action in the middle and one at the end. Lots of B-roll. So like for the last 2 years, I've been on this avid search of like where I could move after Puerto Rico, and I've probably looked in 10 different areas. And when I say look, I mean probably spent 10 plus hours on YouTube watching videos for each specific area. So I know at least what I like when it comes to these types of channels, and what I don't like is when there's not a lot of B-roll. So I'll be looking at, say, Franklin, Tennessee, and the realtor is just walking down the street in downtown Franklin, and it's just them. It's their head bobbing up and down as they're walking, like Cindy on her treadmill, getting in her steps. Good job, Cindy. And but I'm like, I just want to see like the quaint downtown behind this guy's head, and I'm like, I can't find it, so I can't see it, so I gotta find a different video that shows it. So if you are doing a walk and talk, love it. Think walk and talk's great. It's casual. The lighting's great because it's natural light. The audio is gonna be excellent because you don't have a concrete shell around you, bouncing sound everywhere. So it's gonna be a really good looking video with good audio. Audio is more important than the visual, actually. To People will watch your video if it has poor visual, but it's hard to listen to a video that has bad audio. Just a side note. So if I'm doing a walk and talk, I'm gonna have a bunch of B-roll playing so they can see what I'm talking about. And all you need to do is just take your phone before you shoot the video or after, and literally just, I mean, you could be in your car just taking like footage of the downtown, or you could just be standing on a corner and just do a quick little pan. That's really as easy as it is. That's a really big deal. And then you also use that B-roll when you're sitting in your office. I think you could build out this whole channel, like I mentioned, from your house and I mean, literally from your house in North Carolina. You can do one for California. Like you don't even have to live in the state as long as you have B-roll. So for when you're doing in-office videos too, make sure they have lots of B-roll. B-roll is super engaging, and keeps people from getting bored. Thumbnail, you want one bold image, then ideally no more than 3 words. I certainly go to sometimes 4 or 5 words if I can't get my point across in less. But ideally, it's you doing some kind of funny emotion on your face, funny, scared, confused. 3 words of text and maybe one image of something else. And we have some examples of that here in a minute. Keep fonts and colors consistent. So when they see your thumbnail, they recognize it. So if they're scrolling YouTube and they liked your video from last night, but now it's the next night and they're just scrolling YouTube, if they can recognize your color brand, they'll be like, oh, this is, the lady that I watched last night. That was a really good job, did a really good job explaining the area, and they'll click yours. And then title, focus on main keywords, keep it under 60 characters, and promise a clear payoff that sparks curiosity, and repeat that promise in the opening, like I mentioned with the hook. And then here at the bottom, I just made a note, commit to 1 to 2 videos per week. That's a good rhythm. Don't really need to do more than that. If you're thinking about like pillars for your channel, I think these are really the top 3 from what I've seen to work really well. First one, neighborhood and area tours. This is an area that I love. We'll be going back there this fall. It's Bentonville, Arkansas. And funny side note, I messaged this gentleman on the thumbnail and another guy who's there. They both have great channels, great videos, do a really nice job. I messaged them last fall because we were considering getting a house there, and both of them responded to me, and we had a few back and forths, but we just didn't pin down an appointment really. And since then, I haven't heard from either of them. So if you're on YouTube and you're actually following up with your leads, you have a really good chance to take your unfair share of business because just like anything, any sales profession, the lead follow-up is sometimes disappointing. Like I was actually hoping they followed up with me because I was interested, but I was just kind of like, I was out doing my thing with my family. We were there on vacation, so I wasn't really trying to pursue it that hard. But I was like, I'd like to meet these people with coffee, but if they're not going to hit me up, I'm just kind of let it go type of thing. And that was almost a year ago now, so I haven't heard from either of them. And I think I told them I was like, I'm looking to buy like $1 million house here, and I was serious. I wasn't like those looky loos that you sometimes get. So I was just kind of. It was a good reminder to me that there's massive opportunity for real estate agents who like to work. But those guys' channels, if you type in living in Bentonville, you'll find both these guys, and highly recommend both their channels. They both just do a really really good job. Two different different personalities, but both really good channels to follow if you're looking for some examples. So the neighborhood and area tours, I already talked about that a little bit. Just get out there, show the community, do your walking talks, but make sure you got a lot of B-roll. People like to see what does the area look like before they make their first trip there to check out the area. This middle one, top reasons to move here. Now this guy's channel, he's been in Charlotte. Gosh, I actually cold called him for EXP like it must have been like 8 years ago. And I only remember it because his name's like Sir. I'd have to go back to his YouTube channel, but it's like Sir something. So it's just a unique name. But he's got like 44,000 subs. Like he's someone in Charlotte, like DM me how much business this guy's doing. Maybe he's referring a lot of it out now. But at 44,000 subs on a channel like this, you got to be absolutely crushing it. It's got to be a lead machine. Um, I want to say it's Sir Richard, but it's not because I'm thinking of Sir Richard Branson. It's bugging me now. I'm going to look when we get to the Q&A section. And he was open to EXP too. Is my lack of follow-up probably the reason that he's not here? And then the last one, so top reasons to move here, top 10 reasons to move here, top 5 reasons to move here. And then on the last one, top 5 reasons not to move here or don't move here. These are really the most clickable thumbnails that I see that get the most views. And ironically, this is just a trend on YouTube, probably just human nature. The more your video is like your thumbnail is like a negative emotion, they actually get more views, or your title is like negative, like don't move here, tends to get more views than top reasons to move here. So one thing to think about on the don't move here, just highlight the drawbacks. And then when you're talking about the drawback, you can kind of turn that into why it might be a positive. So, like John's market, Bozeman, a lot of people are moving to Bozeman and maybe there's a lot of traffic in a certain part of town. And you could say, well, one of the drawbacks is there's so many people moving here because it's such a great area. Everyone wants to move here. And there is a little more traffic than there used to be 5 years ago when I first moved here. But the benefit is everyone that I meet that's moving here actually works from home. So you'll be able to avoid the traffic that's from 8 to 9 a.m. unless you got to take your kid to school. But if you got to take your kid to school, you can go this back way that I know, or whatever it is. You just turn all the negatives into a positive is what you do there. You don't want to hard sell them not to move there. You just want to turn those drawbacks into positives. But also people like to know that you're being honest with them with some drawbacks. All right, so take a picture of this, top video topics. Um, these are all ones that you should do. Just take a picture of that. What I would do is I would just go to, like I said, living in Dallas, living in San Antonio, living in Charlotte, and I would sort the channel videos by popular. So if you're on a desktop, when you're on someone's YouTube, their main page, you'll see recent and you'll see popular and I think oldest. Just search by popular on like identify 5 main channels that you really like, and then go to each one and I would click popular, and then you could just copy the top 10 videos for each channel, put them in a spreadsheet, and then you'll just see the theme across every channel. All of them are probably going to have a what living in Dallas is really like, top 10 reasons why I love living in Dallas. Like they're going to have top 10 reasons why living in Charlotte, top 10 reasons why I love living in Sioux Falls. Like you're going to see the exact same titles. It's because people model their channels off other channels that are working. You like someone's thumbnail strategy, copy their thumbnail strategy. You like their titles, copy their thumbnails. You like their descriptions, copy their descriptions. And your uniqueness will create your channel in a way that's not copying. So you're not really copying, you're just taking, you're modeling, but you're also copying, but it's not going to look like copying because you're you and there's only one you. So that's really good. And then we wrap it up here in a second. Production excellence, stand out from the crowd. We talked about this a little bit, pattern interrupt first 15 seconds. So this is kind of the format. So scripting flow that converts. Pattern interrupt hook, first 15 seconds. Like right away, bam, deliver a quick hook. Compelling story that builds connection. If you can add a story in, beautiful. Maybe it's a story about when you first moved to the area, a story about another family or couple that moved to the area. That'd be really good to have in your video. And then a clear call to action driving the buyer call. Each video should have those three components. Leverage the AI helpers for scripting and even for B-roll. ChatGPT, Opus Clip, Descript, and vidIQ will save you hours. We can dive into those maybe in another training, but I would just write all those down and check them out. vidIQ will help you just kind of manage your channel. Descript is a great editor. Opus Clip is good for making like shorts. And then ChatGPT, obviously really good for most things. If you want some good B-roll, there's a company called Storyblocks. And the new one, my editor just recommended to me that we're using now, I think it's called Art List. And that's good for B-roll and music. It's a small fee, but you want to make sure that you're not using copyrighted music or B-roll because YouTube will basically demonetize your videos once you get monetized, and you don't want that to happen. I'd get started with your camera. You know, the new cameras are or just get started with your iPhone or phone as your camera. If you want to do something that's a little bit nicer, maybe a Sony CV1, simple to use, low cost. If you want to use a teleprompter, that's great. Some people do, some people don't. All my videos that I've ever made are just an outline, although I recently bought a teleprompter and may start using that just to make my workflow a little bit better. I would recommend getting a VA. For the cost of getting a VA on Upwork or something like that, you just save you a lot of time. If you do get a VA, I wouldn't spend any more than $100 per video. That would be like the most I'd be trying to spend. And then you just want to make sure that they have a standard procedure for what you want your videos to be like. It could be like removing breaths, adding captions. On Descript, you can actually go in and set it so it's like a 0.1 second word gap in all of your words. You want your videos to be fast paced and engaging. You know, trainings like this, unless the presenter is like just like a world-class presenter, these trainings can kind of get a little boring because they're long and it's just kind of like, I'm breathing heavy, I'm taking drinks of my water. You want to cut out all that kind of stuff in your YouTube videos. You just want it to be like bam, 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 bam. And you can do all that stuff either manually yourself with an editor or using something like Descript. So this guy, David Massey, so he actually used to be in a mastermind that I ran, and he used to be heavy prospecting based. All of his business came from seller prospecting because that's all I used to teach. And he has since moved his entire business over to YouTube. He has a small channel. His videos on average get less than 500 views, which is not a lot if you're not aware. And he's absolutely crushing it on YouTube with his business. He's probably doing 30 plus deals a year from YouTube right now. So, and this is the example. He's got two words. He's got his little X there that he's doing with his arms, and then he's got one image with this sign and fire coming off of it. So those are the three main focus points that he has, and then of course, obviously the background. So if I were to coach him on the thumbnail, because he already has those three main points, I'd probably want to do like a gray scale, so like a black and white background, so that his text and his image pops a little bit more. But he did a nice job with those three focus points. All right. Cool. And I can drop the link to this presentation too in the group later. So in terms of converting this stuff, the views into buyers, you want to have a lead magnet. So this could be an offer like download this relocation guide. And then they download it, and now you got their email, maybe their phone number. Now you can market to them. But I'd make most of your calls to action just, hey, book a call with me. You can use a Calendly link or just say, text me. I'd probably keep it really simple at first and just say, text me at this phone number, maybe get a second phone number. So when your channel does blow up, you don't have a million leads coming to your phone all the time. But I would just keep it really simple. Just think, how can I create a frictionless experience for the potential buyer? If I'm watching something and I can just text them as I'm watching the video, that's a win for me as a viewer versus having to go through like this huge funnel. So I would probably just do like at the most, a Calendly link, hey, book a call right here, or just tell them to text me. And then for people who are not ready to take that strong action, I would say download a relocation guide, download a mover's guide, whatever you want to come up with there. And then on buyer call is really simple. Just share compelling stories from your story moving to the area, or if you've grown up there, try to share compelling stories of clients that you've worked with, and then answer their questions. And YouTube challenge, this is the last slide. Take action, create your channel. So you can create your channel in less than 5 minutes. It doesn't take much time. Use a Gmail account. That's how you create your YouTube channel. You got to use your Gmail. And don't use your EXP Gmail. I would want to use a Gmail that is one that I own. So even better if you have a domain like I have AJ at ajmighty.com. It's a Gmail, but I pay for it. So I feel like I have a little more ownership of it. Because when this does grow into a large asset one day, maybe decide to retire from real estate, maybe you could even sell this channel, who knows? Make a list of your top 10, make a list of your first 10 videos that you want to make. Just get that down based on the market research we talked about, and then publish your first buyer focused video within 7 days. So if this is something that you're like, man, I got to do this, I want to do it, then those are your action steps. And I would say, if you're busy right now and you're like, I just don't know how I'm going to do this, I don't have the time, I got too much going on, just think about it, just like we teach with the agent attraction. It shouldn't be a big part of your day or your week. Just say, you know what, I'm going to publish one video every Friday, and it's going to take me from 8 a.m. to noon. Even as a new YouTuber, there's no reason why a video should take you longer than 4 hours. Even with editing, if you're using Descript, no longer than 4 hours. It's not going to be great if you're the one editing it in under 4 hours, shooting, scripting, editing, but you'll get it out there. And that's what matters most. And then once you have more of a rhythm to it, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to get out 2 videos per week in 4 hours or less. So that's about how long it takes once you get efficient with it. And then just follow different channels. I would go ahead and subscribe to different channels, hit the alert bell if you choose to, because then you'll get alerted every time they produce a new video and you can use it for your research. And that's it, guys. That's the presentation. So if anyone has questions or thoughts, let's chat about it. Oh, that guy's name was Sir Ashley. It just hit me. I was like, I'm gonna go find it. It's Sir Ashley is his name. So I would just type in living in Charlotte, North Carolina, Sir Ashley, if you want to find his. Oh, Stacy posted it. Thanks, Stacy. I see that. Yeah.
Good stuff,
I
man.
remember.
I think what
Yeah.
I hear most is like your conviction in how important this is. And I think we make it more complicated than it is in our minds. And especially when it comes to like the editing and all that stuff. And I just appreciate the presentation. I'd love to get a copy of the slides so I could go back through it. I heard some other influencers say recently that they wouldn't even do lead generation if they weren't also doing a content strategy on YouTube beside the lead generation strategy. And that really hit home for me because I kind of grew up in the lead generation days where it was all about lead gen, lead gen, lead gen. But I think that we can all agree that lead gen has changed. And I think that this is why it's changed. Like if we don't have this on the backside, we're just not converting at any number that makes sense.
That's so good, man. That's so good. I see that, dude. This hit home. Well, didn't really hit home for me, but it kind of made me sad. There's this guy from the Mike Ferry organization that used to be on stage all the time when I grew up in the Mike Ferry world, which is strong cold calling. If you guys don't know Mike Ferry, I'm sure most of you do. But he's got to be he's not even that old. He's probably in his early to mid 60s. And he's still cold calling. And he was like the stud back 10 years ago. Like, so he's still cold calling 10 years later. He's in his mid 60s. I'm not gonna say his name. but he just had like a hip surgery, and he's like, well, he's got kind of got a walker now. I'm not sure if it's a permanent thing or just during recovery. But the reason why I remembered him so well is because he was on stage sharing that his big dream was to travel the country for a year in an RV, and it just hit me like, man, like to not also have a content strategy and just only be cold calling for 20 years would be a sucky position to be in. I think for most people to feel like you don't have anything working in the background when you're wanting to go travel or you're out for a little while for a surgery or whatever it might be. So it just kind of hit me. It's like, man, agents need YouTube. It's so powerful. John, I wanted to share too. So me and John were having a chat like a month ago, and John was able to pull up some stats for some agents in his market. Cause I'm like, so I was just sharing my excitement around this with John. And so John has this little, what's the software called, John?
I forget.
The
Oh,
software?
Corded. I use Corded. So we could go
Corded.
into Corded and pull up the agent, and it shows you like a graph over time, like year over year over year, like all in one graph. And AJ was helping me do a little research, and we found three people that we could go back to their first YouTube posted. Their first YouTube, the next 12 months, they blew up and then just became a top producer and then just literally stopped making videos. It was crazy. So it wasn't even like they had the consistent discipline of doing 2 videos a week, week after week after week for years on end. They literally did it for like a season, like 6 to 12 months, blew up and just don't even do it anymore. Like that's how powerful it is.
Well, to throw out the stats, it was around 20, both of them. So there's two of them I remember specifically. They started their YouTube channel in 2021 because you can go on anyone's YouTube channel, see when they started. That year, they were both doing about 1 to 2 million in sales. The very 12 months later, they were both doing, I think, 10 to 15 million. It was that big of a jump. And both of them are no longer consistently posting YouTube videos. So it's like
That's
they,
crazy.
they got too busy, they got too many leads, whatever's going on in their life, I don't want to know, but I'll be happy to speculate. I'm thinking they got too many leads and they stopped posting YouTube videos because they hit their financial thermostat. They said, okay, I'm doing enough business now. I don't need to keep posting a weekly video. So now if someone in Bozeman, maybe John wants to create a living in Bozeman channel, his top two competitors are no longer posting consistent videos. And we can see in the stats that they had that spike, which I'm also going to speculate is from their YouTube channel. I'd love to get courted in a market like Charlotte where there's like 10 YouTubers and try to make those correlations and maybe do like a mini study on this because I was pumped, man. I was like, I was ready to start my own
I can give you
living
my login.
in.
I've got
Oh, you
corded,
got it too, Lars?
so I'll give you my login. Yeah.
Yeah, we should do a Zoom or give me the login or we can do a Zoom and do a screen share. But I was like, I'm about to do a living in Charlotte, living in Lake Norman. Janie, hey Janie, got your hand up.
Yep. Let me lower my hand. So excellent. That was great. Thank you. Um, from everything I've noticed and even your presentation here and the creators you're referencing, they seem to be highly buyer focused, or at least the content is buyer focused, whereas your past lead gen was, like you said, prospecting. For those of us who are more listing focused, is there a way to create similar results and growth on a listing focus rather than a buyer focused channel?
Yeah, so I'm sure there's a way, there's always a way. However, what I've seen is for a duplicatable, repeatable process, it's definitely buyer side because that's who's going on YouTube searching areas. Like if you already live in St. Augustine, you're not going on YouTube typing in who's the best listing agent in St. Augustine. You're probably going to Google or someone. If you go to if you do your keyword research, and you could do this, there's different keyword research tools, and if you just went in there and tried to do the breakdown, like what seller keywords could exist, and then try to find someone that's doing it. You maybe could, but I would just say the traffic on YouTube is people that are relocating to an area. That's
So
why that's
with
kind of
that,
so
and that's
viral.
that's what I was thinking. But with that, I know, for example, Levi's blown up so well, and I think his focus is Dallas, but he's certainly not the buyer's agent going around. Do you know how agents successfully transition those buyers to somebody not them? Because now they're seeing AJ or whomever as the person. You're like, hey, now I'm gonna have you speak to my because I'd love to do that. I think we have tons of content and so many people are looking for this, but I have zero interest in working with buyers.
Yeah.
But I'd like to be able to transition it to a good buyer's agent. And I don't know if anybody has a good understanding of how that handoff goes smoothly. Love to hear it.
Yeah, you could just word it, reach out to me and my team. So like all of your verbiage could just be my team, my team, my team. So it's kind of prepping them for it.
Yeah.
The first guy I showed, Greg Foster, he had that same concern and he was able to simply just start handing people off. Hey, when you book a call, it's going to be with a team member. And he didn't
Okay.
see any decline in business.
Okay.
And if I was wanting to do this, one thing that I would strongly consider is actually partnering with other local agents, like one or two. So like finding like two agents that you think would be really good on camera, Janie,
Mhm.
and either paying them per video or just saying, hey, I have this channel, I have this studio, or I have this equipment, would you like to do it with me? I'm going to pay for the editor, so you don't have to like offer everything, or you don't even have to pay him, but you can say, I at least have an editor, I got this camera, and I'm renting out this little studio one times per week. Would you like to do this with me? Okay, you will. Okay, well, I just need a commitment from you to let's just batch, 12 videos over the next 3 weeks. So for this Saturday, for next Saturday, for the Saturday after. And now you got 12 weeks of videos potentially from this second personality on your channel. And if they stay with you long term, great. But if they decide to flake out or that's just not for them, you now have 12 videos for your channel that are going to be 12 fishing poles in the water 24/7 for the next 50 years potentially, that you didn't even really have to pay for. So I would be thinking of how can I use multiple personalities for one channel, if you didn't want to be the sole person making 2 videos per week, because 2 videos per week really is the sweet spot. And that idea came to me. Okay, John's computer's about to die. Awesome. Thanks, John. I thought John said my computer's about to die. I'm like, oh no. So Think Media is a really good YouTube channel that I like to follow for general YouTube advice. And that's the approach that Sean Cannell's taken, is having multi-personalities. And he's recently had 2 of the personalities kind of trade out because they moved on to their next thing. And 2 new guys came in and it's like just as good. It's and what that taught me is I'm not there for Sean. I'm there for the great content. So I'm like, man, if I can get out 3 videos instead of one per week, because I have 2 extra personalities, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But if you find something on the seller side, Janie, I'd love to see it. I just haven't found that yet.
Okay. I'll
Cool.
let you know.
Sweet. Any other questions? Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks guys for being on. We'll definitely get the recording up. And then once I see the recording posted, I'll put the slide link in there as well. And then that will be in the file section, but I'll make sure everyone sees where it's at. Thank you, Stacy, so much for posting the rapid tags.io generator that I was talking about. Super powerful tool. It makes things so easy. What I found is with the new AI tools that are available, it makes YouTube not only easier, but way more fun because you can focus on the production of the quality versus the nitty gritty of like, what are the top 15 tags I can use? And you're trying to like think of them and get bogged down in that. You can just produce great content and let the AI tools really just be your assistant. It's really cool. Awesome. Well, thanks guys so much. We're up on the hour. Appreciate you all being here and look forward to seeing you guys on future calls.
Thanks. Yeah.